What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Friday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Conium. Hopefully the voice sounds a little bit better today. I'll try to get through this whole thing without completely losing it again. Got the Fisherman's Friend going. We're ready to rock, and I hope you did hear me yesterday because it was another 3-0 day on The Squeeze. We're 9-0 this week and up 9 units. All bets, I put these out on Twitter. I put this out on YouTube. These bets are all tracked and verified. More to come on that. Some fun things on that of how you can follow all the bets and tail all the bets. Very excited. Coming soon. 3-0 day, man. And it was a fun one. We had the Philadelphia 76ers minus 4.5. That hit. There was a late steal at the end. Philly gets a dunk, and then Brooklyn takes a three that misses. So it took a lot to get there, but that covered. Weird game. Embiid kicks Claxton in the groin, doesn't get ejected. Harden does like a push-off, does get ejected. I don't know what's going on there, but that series is up 3-0 Philly. That's over. Phoenix Suns was interesting. If you bet it early, you got it at minus 2.5, which is where I bet it. Kawhi's then ruled out throughout the day and moves to minus 7.5. That doesn't cover, but we got 17.6% CLV. Check. Colorado Avalanche, Golden State Warriors moneyline parlay plus 113. Check. 3-0 for the third straight day. Never done that before. Probably, you might want to fade all three of these picks today because at some point, luck's got to run out. We also had, if you follow me on Twitter, I had a plus 483 four-leg Maple Leafs, Avalanche, Vegas Knights, Phoenix Suns four-leg parlay. That hit too. So it was a 5-unit win on the day overall if you follow all of that stuff. And like I said, we're on a heater. Let's try to keep this going. We're going to start in the NBA with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks, one of the better series of the first round. This series shifts to Madison Square Garden. You've got the series tied 1-1. You had New York won the first game 101-97. You had Cleveland in a pretty dominating performance, 107-90, and they were up by 30 at one point. I don't know who's going to win this basketball game, so that's why I'm just taking the Knicks to be leading after the first half. Going into the locker room at half, I think the Knicks can have the lead here as it switches to home court. They were 23-18 at home this season. Cleveland was under 500, 20-21 on the road. Donovan Mitchell is a New York native. How many tickets is he going to have found for this? How many obligations has he had to partake in as the series shifts to New York? Cleveland's not that far away, and I get it. And I get that he's going to be zoned in because it is the playoffs, but it's always tough when you go on the road to your hometown and it's a playoff game. I think the Knicks play well. I think the Knicks are going to play very defensive-minded under Tom Thibodeau today, and they might not win this game, but I picked them to go into halftime leading by at least 1 point. That's minus 110 at DraftKings. And as I've said before, it's hard to give you a lot of analysis and trends and all that. All we can do is talk about the series because what happened in January doesn't matter. And once you're in the playoffs, once you're in the first round, throw that out the window. What happened 2 years ago? Are they under? Are they this? Are they that? Excuse me. That goes out the window. So I feel like the New York Knicks can get it done in the first half and be leading. That's minus 110 at DraftKings. Second bet as we move to the NHL. We've got the New York Islanders and the Carolina Hurricanes. Here's another series shifting to New York. This in Long Island, UBS Arena. You've got the Islanders down 2-0 in this series as it shifts to home ice. So I'm taking the New York Islanders here on the money line for minus 110. This is also at DraftKings. On this season, Carolina was better. They were 54-21-6. The New York Islanders were 42-32-5. That's a pretty big difference. But the Islanders were pretty good at home. They were 25-13-1. Carolina was good on the road. They had 24 road wins. But I'm looking tonight, this is going to have to be a matchup for Sorokin to really stand on his head for the Islanders. It's hard to sweep in the NHL. It's hard to sweep in the NBA where mismatches are, you can have your best player on the floor the entire game. Joel Embiid could play 48 minutes and sweep the Brooklyn Nets. Not the case in the NHL. You've got to be able to roll 3-4 lines pretty consistently, and it's just hard. You run into a hot goaltender. It's hard to sweep in the NHL. Home ice is a big deal. You've got the last change. You can play your matchups a little bit better. There's more strategic things you can do aside from just the crowd. And for that reason, I look for the New York Islanders and for Sorokin to have a big game, take at least one here. So give me the New York Islanders on the money line. That's minus 110 at DraftKings. The last bet is a parlay, but really this is a bet on the Boston Bruins. This series is tied 1-1, Boston and Florida. It's a bit interesting. Boston won the first game 3-1, and then they got beat pretty bad, 6-3 by Florida in game 2, and everyone was kind of like, oh, is Boston mortal? I don't know if Boston's necessarily mortal, and I do think they can win this hockey game. They did lose a couple games during the regular season. You can kind of throw that out the window a little bit. You've got Lyon, who's played well. Bobrovsky looks like he's probably out for Florida until Lyon screws up. Maybe that night is tonight. But I think the Boston Bruins do get back in line. Patrice Bergeron might be traveling with the team, might be going and playing in tonight's game, which would be interesting to have your captain back. Obviously, a very big boost, one of the best players in the NHL. The Boston Bruins were 31-8 on the road this season, almost as good as they were at home. They were 35-5 at home. They're 31-8 on the road. Florida at home, 23-13-4. You know, nothing to sneeze at, but I do think the Bruins can win this game. I do look, it's got to have to be a road win somewhere tonight, and I'm going to look for that to happen in Boston. And I think they do take a series lead. I think they sort of realized, okay, we just lost 6-3. This is not a young and experienced team. This is the Boston Bruins we're talking about. They're going to really dig deep and look to stomp out the Florida Panthers before this series gets away from them a little bit. So taking the Boston Bruins on the money line, because that's 155. It's really juicy. I don't like that. There's the possibility of overtime. I'm going to pair that with the Los Angeles Angels money line of minus 280. It's Shohei Ohtani Day. They are playing the Kansas City Royals, and that is really my main analysis. The Kansas City Royals are terrible. Let me just quickly pull up what we're looking at here. And look, it's hard to trust the Angels. I get it. They're only 9-10 on this season. Kansas City Royals are 4-15. Royals are 1-12 at home. and they are 3-3 on the road. They've actually been a better road team, but it's Ohtani, man. And he's got an ERA under 1 this season. He's 2-0. Starting for the Kansas City Royals is Taylor Clark. He's got an ERA of 6.75, a career ERA of over 5. If the Angels can't win this game, then I'm just going to tip my cap to the Kansas City Royals and say, yeah, you cost me a plus 123 parlay. That's fine. And if that happens, it happens. But we're adding it in to, again, make this into plus money. So Boston Bruins and Los Angeles Angels moneyline parlay, that is plus 123 at DraftKings. I can tell the voice is going again. Hopefully I can get back to normal by tomorrow. Hopefully we can have another 3-0 day and really keep this rolling. But give me the New York Knicks minus 0.5 in the first half for minus 110 at DraftKings. Give me the New York Islanders on the money line, minus 110 at DraftKings. Give me the Boston Bruins and the Los Angeles Angels, both on the money line for a plus 123 parlay at DraftKings. As always, drop a comment if you're fading or following. You follow me on Twitter at Tyler Connian for more picks and props throughout the day. TikTok and Instagram for just the picks portions, and audio is on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. This has been the best. The best. As I say every day, let's talk sports.